man. I grew up in San Francisco with my
Mhm.
mom. When I was 13, I came out to LA to live with my dad.
Mhm.
And my grandmother put me in this prep school, basically. And I'd only been there a few months, and I was in art class, and a casting agent came in, and she walked over to me and another kid, and she's like, you know what, you have a great look. We're casting for this film called Lord of the Flies. They're doing a remake of it, and you have a great look. Can you give this card to your mom, basically? And after school, I ran home and I gave this card to my mom, and I was like, this casting agent, I think that's what she called herself, like, thinks I have a cool look, and they wanted to know if I would come in and read
Mm.
for this movie. And that sort of started this 9-month process where I kept getting called back in, and then weeks, months would go by, and that sort of started this, like I said, this almost year-long process. Right at the end, my grandmother sent me to Scotland to go do this semester overseas, basically.
Yeah.
It's like very well known, very rigid, like Scottish prep school called Gordonston.
Yeah.
You can
Yeah.
Google it out there, and I'm sure some of your fans will have a laugh looking at it. And I was about to get onto was about to go on this kind of outward bound thing, like head off into the woods, basically,
Mhm.
for a week. And as we were leaving, a lady from the school came up and she was like, Balthazar, they've just called from New York, something about a film. They want to know if you can fly in and do a final reading, basically.
Mhm.
So I left there at 13, flew to New York, did my final audition in the room, and then kind of not knowing the process at the end of the audition, I was like, did I get it? And they were like, well, you don't normally ask those kind of things in the room, but
Yeah.
you did actually, you got it.
It's a
And
fair question. I
yeah,
mean, Jesus. Yeah.
yeah,
It's what I'm
of
here
course,
for. Yeah.
yeah, that was to play Ralph in Lord of the Flies,
Yeah.
which launched my career. And there's a pretty well known story. 2 weeks before I was supposed to fly to star in the movie, I broke both of my arms falling out of a tree. And I
Jesus.
don't know if you guys can see it, but
Yeah.
yeah, all the way down here, the bone snapped out of my wrist, broke
Jeez.
both of my wrists, was rushed off to, emergency surgery, the whole thing. My mom calls the director and is like, Baltazar's in the hospital. They don't even know if they're going to be able to save his left hand. It's probably done. And luckily, man, they waited a few weeks for me. They
Yeah.
ended up changing the we ended up shooting the film sequentially, which if you know
Mhm.
anything about films, you never do that. You
Right.
film at whatever location makes sense.
Mhm.
Um, and it's never day one is day one and day 30 is day 30.
Yeah.
But because of my injury, we had to do it that way, and they ended up writing it into the script. And if you remember the opening of the movie,
Mhm.
it's me walking onto the beach, and I have this splint and this kind of wrap around. So basically, we just put a T-shirt around my cast,
Yeah.
put some fake blood on it, and my right hand was healed enough where I would take it off right before we would shoot. And yeah, so I had 2 broken arms for 80%
Jesus.
of that movie.
Yeah.
And yeah, we wrote it in, and they had spent a year looking for their guy,
Yeah.
and I was the guy. And so yeah, but yeah, I tried everything to make it not happen.
Yeah. I know. I mean, it's just so crazy to think, like, what if they would have not worked around your schedule?
Yeah, and they
Like,
did. I mean, they had that option. So
yeah.
there was a kid who had a much smaller part who had a similar look to me, and they
Mhm.
had been saying to him, if we can't work this out with Baltazar, you're gonna end up
Yeah.
playing. So it's
Jeez.
sucked for this kid because at one
Well,
point
yeah,
for a week
you
he
crushed
thought
his dreams. Yeah.
he thought maybe he was going to be the guy, and
Yeah.
yeah, luckily they made it work for me, and yeah, we shot it sequentially, and I spent 4 months, in Jamaica with
Mhm.
very little parental supervision, and we made this
Hell yeah.
movie that's become kind of a modern classic, a modern cult
Yeah.
classic.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I mean, I think like we watched it in school, I mean,
Yeah.
it was one, and then I think a lot of people do. I mean, I
Yeah,
don't
they
think
still
I'm
do. I mean, I
unique in
get I
that.
get letters all the time from kids, who read the book and
Yeah.
then, watch the film.
Yeah. Which I think the one that I've seen the most 100% is Young Guns 2. Young Guns 2 might actually be the movie I've seen that movie at least 100 times, which
Yeah,
is probably insane to most people but
it's a classic, man.
dude, it's so good. I love both of those movies
Yeah.
so much. It's like probably the movie I recommend most to people who, if
They're
they,
getting ready to make another one.
I know, man, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. Like, I
Yeah.
hope for the best, obviously, because I love the movies. I love
Yeah.
like Emilio Estevez, like
Yeah.
a huge fan of his. Like Bobby is another movie that I recommend to people all the time. I think that movie's criminally underrated.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
It's just it's always a real roll of the dice with
Yeah, yeah.
bringing something
But it
back
was
after that
too
long.
when we made the second one, if you think about it.
Yeah,
Um, but the second yeah, that was so much fun, and the Bon Jovi, the
yeah,
soundtrack, and,
yeah. Blaze
yeah,
of Glory, wasn't it?
yeah,
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 yeah. Oh yeah, and
that
just
was a
like
good
that cat. I mean, just to have like those ensemble casts like that. Those are my favorite types of movies. Like
yeah,
a huge ensemble cast where everybody kind of has their own thing. Like especially in the second. I mean, like Christian Slater, Kiefer Sutherland, I'm a massive fans of both of theirs. Lou Diamond Phillips as
yeah,
well. Like, I just think they're like fascinating people. And
yeah, yeah.
yeah, man,
No, it
that's
was great. I mean, I was the youngster just soaking it all up, you know what I mean? Hanging around.
was so. How old were you in that when you
I
made
I
it?
was I remember I turned, I think yeah, 'cause I'm pretty sure I was lying to my girlfriend, telling her I was a year older, but I'm pretty sure I turned 15 on that.
Jesus,
Yeah. 15 or 16, yeah.
what a time to turn! Yeah,
Yeah.
oh my god,
Yeah, and I was a wild little boy, you know what I mean?
yeah.
Even though it's
Well,
so
yeah,
funny when you look at me, I mean, I look like a fetus in that thing, um,
yeah,
but even then, I was already, just a wild kid, man.
yeah. I mean, yeah, that's the best way to be. To be a
Yeah,
wild kid and make it through is
yeah.
such a great yeah. Like, it may seem like a bit of a shock to most people, but I was a little bit wild too back in the day and
I
kind
can
of,
see that.
but yeah, I made it through barely, by the skin
Yeah,
of my teeth for sure.
yeah,
But yeah, but I definitely didn't turn 15 or definitely didn't turn 16 surrounded by Christian Slater and Kiefer Sutherland. Like
yeah,
that
yeah, yeah,
unfortunately didn't happen for me, but
yeah. We'd play a lot of pool, and
yeah.
yeah, and I've always loved the process of preparing for a film.
Yeah.
Like I I lived with those guns and those horses, man, and I would
Yeah.
spend every day on the back of a horse or working with a gun. 'Cause
Yeah.
there's the scene, I don't know if you remember that scene, but there's a scene where the character, goes to a brothel, and
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
yeah, I guess, he gets laid for the first time or whatever, and then
Hell yeah.
kinda spins his pistols and has this
Yeah.
little so
Yeah.
just even preparing something like that, takes weeks, months sometimes, and I
Mhm.
wanted to be really good at it, and, so you just
Yeah.
spend all day hanging out with cowboys, man.
Does that feel like a lifetime ago, or does it feel like it was yesterday?
It's both.
Yeah.
It's
It's
both.
weird how that happens. Where
Yeah.
sometimes I don't know if this happens, like, with you, but whenever I think about, let's say, 15, 16 for me, it feels like I'm, like, watching a movie of something that happened. like it doesn't feel like that was actually me doing
Yeah,
those
yeah,
things. Does that
yeah.
make sense?
Yeah, yeah, but it's weird for me, and I guess, you have, I'm sure, video and photograph and everything
Mhm.
of your upbringing, but, I mean, I have films of, like, every kind of important decade of my life over the
Yeah.
last, 30. Well, I just turned 50, and I started when I was
Oh yeah.
13. I did Lord of the Flies when I was 13.
Yeah. So 37 years of
Yeah.
documentation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That is a very unusual life to live. But
Yeah.
I mean, and unfortunately, a lot of people don't really make it out of it okay.
Yeah.
But you seem to have done pretty damn well for yourself.
Thanks,
Like
man. Yeah, I'm
yeah,
lucky. I've seen a lot of guys not make it, and I
yeah,
mean, and you see it all the time in the news and papers. I mean, it's almost a punchline, like a
yeah.
child actor, turned disaster, and I've overcome a lot. I've had struggles, but I started having kids really young, and I
Hmm.
think being a father really young was big for me
Yeah. That
because
makes sense.
yeah, like I started having kids in my early mid 20s, basically.
That's pretty young. I mean,
Yeah,
especially for now. I mean, I think
yeah. I mean,
now people have
yeah,
kids
not by
way later.
Texas, not by Texas standards, but
No, no, no. If you, I mean, you're on your fourth or fifth by the time you're 20. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and,
yeah.
yeah, I just had so I have 5 kids, yeah, and
Damn.
yeah, and yeah, I think that, that they I don't wanna say saved me, but I had to grow up pretty quick, and,
Yeah, yeah. It'll do it. I mean, for some people, if they're
yeah.
doing what they're supposed to do. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah, sadly,
yeah,
not all, like, you see this
no,
all the time, yeah, like,
yeah.
and I always wonder, like, "How could you do that, man? How could you do that to your kids?"
I
Like,
know. I've never understood it.
yeah,
Never. I understand divorce. I understand
yeah,
that.
yeah,
I
yeah,
don't understand
yeah,
not being around
yeah.
for the kid.
Turning your
Like,
back, disappearing for 10 years.
yes. I was very, fortunate to have both parents and stay together, which is kind of an uncommon thing nowadays. But
Yeah.
yeah, and I think that has a lot to do with me turning out decently okay.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
great, but but I'm in there.
You're doing alright, man.
Yeah, well, thank you, thank you. What was the first movie you remember seeing in theaters?
You know what it was? And people are shocked. Oh, what's it called again? It's the Mickey Rourke and Lisa Bonet.
Oh, Angel Heart?
Yes.
Yeah. Jesus, was it really?
Yeah. My
Wait, how old
mom,
were you
I
when you
was,
saw
like,
that?
probably, like, 10 or something like that.
Yeah, because I think it was 87 7
Yeah.
no, it was a little bit before that, 86 or something. It was something
Yeah,
around there, I
I
think.
was like
I
10 or
think.
11 or something like that,
That's
and I just remember that my mom took me to go see that, and I remember that being the first time I was in the cinema, like,
man, what a first movie.
I know.
Holy hell. Yeah, that'll make you wanna be an actor, Jesus. You see
Yeah,
Mickey Rourke and Robert De Niro and,
yeah,
yeah, Lisa Bonet well, which, I mean, Lisa
yeah,
Bonet, my god, but yeah,
I know, that's a great film for
love it.
yeah, people haven't
Yeah,
seen that.
that's another one that is very underrated,
Yeah,
and it's weird that that one doesn't catch on, the way that I think
yeah,
it should have. It's weird how that works, how some
yeah,
movies just kinda they just hit it and some don't. I mean,
but now it's interesting because like, even my kids, like, they'll watch TV shows from the '90s or whatever, and, like, all these
yeah,
things getting rediscovered, shows like yours,
yeah,
and it's interesting, like, they're all into, like, yeah, shows from the early 2000s or '90s, or
mhm,
things are getting rediscovered, and they get new
yeah.
life.
Yeah. Well, that's kinda how I was as a kid. I never really watched things that were current even as a kid. Like, I only
Right.
watched things from I would say, like, I mean, I was born in '93, so, like, I would watch things from, like, the '80s or, like, '90s and back.
Right.
and usually just older, whatever the hell my parents watched. Like my dad would
Yeah.
watch shitty movies like Pumpkinhead and
Yeah.
Children of the Corn, and I'd be like,
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
right, well, I like this stuff now, and
Yeah.
yeah, that's
But
just kind of how
also,
it
like,
always was.
that was, like, notoriously historically, like, that was a bad time for, like, film, and like that. I think the,
Yeah,
like, 90s, 2000s, like, there's been, I think, like, early 90s,
yeah,
there was the great, I think that was, like, the last, that was kinda like that big indie push, right? Wasn't that, like,
right. With
Tarantino
Tarantino,
and
David Fincher,
right,
and
right, right.
Kevin Smith. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like a lot
I
of
think
that.
that was, like, early 90s, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, Tarantino, Reservoir Dogs is 92, and then yeah, Kevin
Right.
Smith made Clerks in 94. David
Yeah,
Fincher was doing, I mean, he had done like Seven, I think came out in 95. So it's all like
yeah, yeah, I
in
feel
that
like, yeah, like,
time.
that was a golden age, and then I feel like
Yeah.
you had it in the '70s, and then you
Yeah.
had a couple you had a couple ones in the '80s,
Yeah, a couple. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. The 80s
couple.
is,
Yeah,
yeah,
but at the same time, there's some great ones too, like
for sure.
Goonies and
Yeah. The John Hughes movies are some of my favorite movies.
Yeah, me
Like,
too.
yeah, I'm a huge fan. And then like St. Elmo's Fire,
Yeah.
Heathers is one of my favorite
Yeah, me
movies
too, man.
too.
Me
Yeah,
too.
like yeah, the 80s. I mean, there's because even you say like the late 90s, I think had a lot of great movies. I think 1999 might be one of the greatest years for movies ever.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what.
Like if you go back and look, because there was like a resurgence for some people too, like in the late 90s, or not a resurgence, sorry, but like a lot of people coming out, for the first time. So like you had like The Matrix, Sam Mendes, I mean, American Beauty.
Yeah, oh,
Uh,
that was so good,
I mean,
man.
yeah, Paul Thomas Anderson did
Yeah.
Boogie
I'm trying to
Nights.
think when Lost Highway came out.
96.
Okay.
Hold
Yeah.
on, let me check that because Jesus, that's gonna bother me if I don't have the
Yeah,
date.
yeah, no, I mean, 90s, yeah, 90s had a lot of great stuff, man.
97. Yeah,
Okay.
was Lost Highway.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Which another
Yeah.
movie that I use, that's one that I usually try to recommend to people that I don't think would like it,
Yeah.
because I kind of just want to screw with them a little bit, because
Yeah.
it's just such a bizarre. I mean,
I know.
everything David Lynch did is just
Yeah.
amazing to me. But
Yeah.
yeah,
For me, I feel like, um, being as yeah, I mean, David was, one of my mentors, and,
yeah.
got to work with him, multiple times. And I actually feel like Lost Highway is almost the most approachable Lynch film in the way that it is completely out
Hmm.
there. And if you're following the story in a traditional way, but
Hmm.
it has a pace to it,
Hmm.
and a look and a sexiness, and it's scary and it's sexy and it it looks amazing, it sounds amazing.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
actually think it's, yeah, for me, it's also getting rediscovered right now. I think with
Hmm.
David passing and
Yeah.
different things happening. Um, but I've had so many of my heroes come up and tell me that, that's one of their favorites, Lost Highway,
Oh, I mean, that's one that I'll watch over and over. I'm just like,
Yeah.
I'm endlessly fascinated by just movies like that are just not normal. And then, like you said, it is definitely like one of his more like approachable, kind of for the masses, which or not so
Yeah,
much
that's
as
what I
a
felt
David
at the
Lynch movie
time. It
can
was
get.
like his
Yeah.
kind of like him kind of trying to go it, and it's funny, and in that way it kind of missed. It's like it's too out there for normies, but
Mhm.
maybe it's not out there enough for like the Lynch diehards, because they seem
That's
to grab
fair.
on to like Mulholland Drive a little bit
Yeah.
more,
Blue
and
Velvet.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Which,
So
I mean, I guess Elephant Man's probably the most approachable,
yeah, in
because
terms of
that's,
just a linear story.
well, yeah, and just anyone could watch it. Like it doesn't, like
Yeah,
you're not gonna turn anyone away by
yeah,
with Elephant Man.
yeah,
But yeah, but then like Eraserhead,
yeah,
not so much.
yeah.
Like I know the first time I watched it, I was probably a little too young, and I just thought, what is this that I'm watching? But I couldn't stop watching it, which I think is kind of what I've tried to like recreate in my mind, is like try to get that feeling from a movie. Like
Yeah,
I don't know if I like this, but I can't stop watching it and I want to
yeah.
see it all the way through, and then it just sticks with you for like weeks. Like what movie do you think stuck with you the longest after you watched it?
Um, hmm. Like movies I was like really inspired by.
Mhm.
Like I loved, obviously, I mean, I grew up like and have been very good friends with him, but like Sean Penn, obviously it was like
Yeah.
a big inspiration to me.
Mhm.
I'm having a hard time remembering the movie, but him and Gary Oldman, State of Grace.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Man,
That's a great yeah.
that's probably one I've seen 30, 40 times. One of my favorites. I'd probably say a movie you might not know, I'd say is one of my all-time favorites, and
Uh-huh.
anybody that I become friends with, and I feel
Mhm.
like this is a legitimate friendship, the
Mhm.
first thing I tell them is there's a film called With Nail and I.
Oh, I know, yeah. I know With Nail and
You
I.
know it?
I've never seen it. So, yeah, yeah, I've never seen it, but I do know
Okay.
the movie, yeah.
Yeah, so it's an English comedy, dramedy from the '80s. If
Mhm.
you're in England, like, for the, like, drama kids there, it's The
Mhm.
Gospel. It's like
Okay.
I'm trying to think what our version of it is,
Hmm.
maybe like a Spinal Tap or something like that,
Okay.
where it's like, it's The Gospel. You know every single scene, you know every With Nail
Yeah.
and I is probably my favorite all-time film.
Really? You
Yeah,
think yeah.
yeah.
That's
It's that
okay.
good. Yeah,
100%
it's
gonna be watching that tonight.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you should, man.
Yeah.
Some people have a hard time with I don't know how you are with accents and, like, listening to English stuff, like,
Oh,
some people could,
yeah. I'm fine with it.
um
I grew up watching a ton of, like, British like, my grandmother watched all kinds of, like, Monty she's a big Monty Python fan
right,
and,
right, right, okay,
Blackadder,
yeah,
all that kinda stuff, so, yeah,
right,
I'm
right.
pretty good with
Yeah,
that.
so me, like, yeah, with Nell, has been a constant within my life.
Mhm,
State of Grace really inspired me a lot. Early Gary Oldman for me as a young actor was like, oh my God,
mhm.
how does this guy do it?
Yeah.
Um, Trying to think other films that, you know, I mean, I don't actually watch a lot of film personally.
Yeah.
I watch a lot of, unscripted. I watch a lot of documentaries.
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
I'm pretty much a doc fanatic. I watch that
Yeah.
primarily. I love,
S
like,
Any certain kind of
weird
docs or just, like
mm, just yeah, I mean, not in particular. I mean, I love historical stuff. I mean, I love
mhm.
all that stuff, but even just the great ones like Senna and,
Yeah.
uh the kid stays in the picture. I mean, there's just been
Mhm.
these great ones over the
Yeah.
years,
Hoop
and
Dreams.
I love to watch real life. I guess when you
Yeah.
play, if you're an actor and you're on set and you're playing that all the time, it's almost like watching work in a way. It's like leaving work and
Yeah.
then going back to work. Where for me to like watch a doc or something like that really unfold,
Mhm.
and I know this is authentic and this is happening. I don't know. For me, that it's just always was my thing.
Yeah. That's interesting. That makes total sense for sure. But yeah, I guess I never really would have connected it that way. But that, yeah, that makes.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
a big
As
documentary
like,
guy
as
as
an
well.
actor, I'm watching the film and I'm kinda like even if I love it, I'm kinda like, I get it, and I'm like and I get the experience, like, I don't need to finish
Mhm.
it, you know? I'm like, "I get it, I
Yeah.
loved it." Um,
Right. Right.
yeah, so I don't watch a lot of film,
Yeah.
but
That's fair.
yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm a big document. I love. Yeah, going back through and watching just like the classic dogs, like Hoop Dreams, I think was like a real big one when it came
Yeah,
out. So
yeah, yeah.
I
Oh, yeah.
love that one. Yeah, there's all
Oh,
kinds
yeah.
of, and then I love like a good like dark, like kind of
Mhm.
fucked up documentary. Like there's one called
Oh, yeah.
Three Identical Strangers.
Oh,
So I
yeah,
don't
I
know if
know,
you ever.
I know.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Like just stuff I love, like a good
Yeah.
twist, a good like,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. That's
yeah, I
what I
love that.
mean, like, you can't write that shit, man.
Exactly. Yeah, there was a quote. Somebody told it to me. I think yesterday, which is bad that I can't remember it. But it was like the difference between fiction and nonfiction is you have to make fiction believable.
Right.
And so, yeah, yeah, you can have the truth can be so outlandish that it's
Yeah.
not even believable. But that's the beauty
Yeah.
of it, is that you have to believe it because it's the truth.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
yeah, I love, so yeah, like Three Identical Strangers. There's so many of those. I'm just like, oh
Yeah.
my god, this
Yeah.
is
Yeah. Did you
crazy.
see Cartel Land?
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah.
Those are, yeah.
Yeah.
The
Just that twist, that story turn, like, again,
Mhm.
like, you couldn't have scripted it. It's like fall from grace, and then I love, like, my favorite TV show is a British show called Grand Designs. Do you
Okay.
know it?
No, I don't know that one. No, I've never
Yeah, it's
heard of it.
funny when they asked Obama a couple years ago, like, what his all-time favorite TV show was, he also cited this show, Grand
Yeah,
Design. I hate to call it a home makeover show because it's not a move that bus type of
yeah,
situation.
yeah.
It follows couples and people that are building or remodeling homes, but it follows them for years.
Oh,
And yeah, and you
really?
see these stories unfold of like, you know, they lose all their money. They can't finish the
Yeah,
home. There's just these incredible stories that end up being told because anytime you follow somebody for years,
mhm,
I just find it fascinating. And so it's got like
yeah,
20 plus seasons. If you're looking for a good
yeah.
binge,
Oh, that
um,
sounds great. Yeah.
Grand Designs is really good, man.
Oh, I'm 100%, yeah, checking that one out. I love, yeah, I'm a
Yeah.
big, reality TV guy as well,
Yeah,
which
yeah, me too, me too.
really? What do you have,
Yeah.
like, go-to reality shows? Like, trash,
I mean,
just
I'm pretty bad. I mean, I'll be as bad as like a Vanderpump Rules, you
dude,
know?
I I love Vanderpump Rules so, I mean, it's basically a 10-season fucking HR violation, but it is
Yeah,
one of the
yeah,
greatest shows. Uh,
yeah,
yes.
yeah. I got into
Yeah,
reality like early, like right when it hit, man. It's like, yeah, it's pretty embarrassing, but yeah, I
yeah,
love that. I love that stuff. Not all of them.
yeah.
Like, I don't love the like total freak show ones where girls are just punching each other.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I need a little bit of a storyline and like
Yeah. Some
certain
class,
things.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't want just all out violence with women.
Right. Yeah,
But I do love a Vanderpump.
yeah.
I'll do a little Beverly Hills Housewives.
Same. Big fan of, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Salt Lake City one has become one that I have gotten massively addicted
Okay.
to.
Okay,
Holy
I haven't jumped into any of the other ones, but
okay,
Beverly Hills.
so we're in the same boat. I watched nothing but Beverly Hills, and I was like, "I'm not
Yeah,
watching any of this other bullshit. This is the one I like. I like these people." But then everybody kept saying, like, "Dude, watch Salt Lake City. It's, like, kinda short. It hasn't been around nearly as long." And,
right,
oh
right.
my god, it's
Okay,
dude, it's so
okay,
it's better than Beverly Hills is now, for sure.
right,
Like, it's
okay.
yeah, it's wild.
I
Yeah,
like
so
that. Alright, that's it,
yeah,
that's I need a good show.
yeah,
Um,
that
yeah, I've been watching, Gangs of London. It's a couple years old.
uh-huh. I don't know
Did you
that
see
one.
it?
No.
Yeah. It's good, it's interesting, it's this British director, I can't remember his name, but he he ended up making movies. I think he went to Malaysia and he kind of
Mhm.
discovered this style of martial arts and filmmaking in Malaysia, and he made
Yeah.
these films. I think they're called like Raid 1, 2, and
Oh,
3.
I know.
Do you
Yeah,
ever
I've seen Raid. Yeah, well, I've seen the
Right.
first two. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Mhm.
So it's an English guy who goes to Southeast Asia, or I'm not sure exactly where that is, kind
Yeah,
of
yeah, it is.
discovers this style of filmmaking, which I think is pretty interesting.
Mhm.
Um, and I think it culminated with a movie called Havoc, which is Tom Hardy. I think they did it in like
Okay.
2021.
Yes. Yeah, yeah.
But he did this show called Gangs of London,
Uh-huh.
and he's the creator, and I think he directs like 2 or 3 of them per season.
Yeah.
So I've been watching that. If you're looking for a good
Okay.
English gangster, kind of
Yeah.
very violent.
I'm in. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't take
Yeah,
much to
yeah.
sell me on that. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I love some stuff like that. Yeah. Like I'm not typically a huge fan of scripted series. I think that
Right.
they tend to get drawn out just a little too long.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
they usually hit like by the third season, there's usually like just a hard nosedive for a lot, not every
Oh,
show,
yeah.
but like for a lot of
Yeah,
shows.
yeah.
And
Yeah,
so I
they
can,
do. I
yeah.
mean, they start well, what happens is the really top talent that comes in for the first season or the first half of the
Mhm,
first season, they end up leaving, and you get kind of junior writers and producers and directors,
mhm.
and the budgets go down, and then the quality just kind of slowly starts to,
Yeah.
yeah, go down, unfortunately.
Yeah. I would
Yeah,
rather a show leave too early than stay too long, you know?
yeah, but
Like,
the game. I mean,
well, yeah, for sure. I mean, you're not gonna, yeah, yeah. Like to me, like The Sopranos, that's the perfect amount. Like it
yeah.
ended how it should end, like all that. But then there's shows like Mindhunter. I don't know if you watched that. It was David Lynch. I mean, not David Lynch. Sorry, David Fincher's show.
I
Um,
didn't.
oh, Mindhunters is so good. It's about the
Okay,
FBI's initial task force for like interviewing serial killers. Like it's the two
okay,
guys that coined the term serial killer, and so it's them kind of like
right,
trying to track down current serial killers, well, back in the 70s, but doing so by
right,
interviewing famous serial killers like Charles Manson,
right,
Richard Speck, all these people, and it is
gotcha.
so good. Like just one of the
Okay,
best put together shows. And then they did 2 seasons and they leave you thinking there's going to be a third, and apparently there will not be a
right,
third, and that
yeah.
sucks. But,
It happens a lot. They'll get these, like, big Hollywood directors, like a Fincher or something like that,
mhm,
and that doesn't guarantee, like, success. It might be great, but
yeah,
I've had this many times where it's been like they've, offered me a show or something, and they've got the big director, and you think because of that it's going to go, and it almost never does. It's normally the like the TV vets and those guys that have success in TV. Like, it's weird. Like
yeah.
Fincher, I don't, as great as he is, I don't think he's
Mhm.
had success in TV. I mean, a lot of these big
Yeah.
guys, they don't.
Yeah, because he did House of Cards, I think. I think he started House of Cards, but then obviously, I think he directed maybe the first 3 or 4
Yeah,
episodes, which is kinda
yeah,
same thing
yeah. I
on
mean,
Mindhunter. That's about the only one I can think of that he did, but he probably has done
yeah.
other stuff. I mean,
Yeah, yeah, because they look for him because it's good money and everything, and if
yeah.
it's like you direct that, if you direct the pilot,
Mhm.
you get a piece of that show
Yeah.
until the end of days.
Well, what a what a nice
Yeah,
little, avenue to jump down. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
It's like Ridley Scott, I think, did it with a Taboo, the Tom Hardy show.
yeah,
It was a great, great
yeah,
show, and I'm a massive
yeah,
Ridley Scott fan. She worked with him, didn't
yeah,
you,
I mean,
on White Squall?
yeah, I did, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, I did, White Squall with them, and I worked with his brother, and I know the
yeah,
family very well. Like, yeah, I mean, I've been lucky. I've worked with, half of the greatest, directors of our time,
yeah. Is there, someone specific that you would just, like, die to work with? Like, you're like, "God, I wish I could make
that I
a
haven't
film with him."
worked with.
you haven't worked with. Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, guys like,
Hmm.
Wes
Yeah. Yeah. Wes
Anderson,
Anderson. Right.
PTA, um,
Yeah. That's,
David
yeah.
David Fincher, who I know. I mean, I know these guys,
Hmm.
um, but I would love to. I mean, as an actor, there's nothing better than following a great leader like that, who
Yeah.
is so committed and so talented and
Mhm.
so just tapped in to their
Yeah.
process that you just feel like, a little puppy dog or a little soldier, and you're just there,
Yeah.
like, literally tell me what to do and I'll do it.
So do
And
you, so you prefer like that as opposed to kind of an open-ended, like, oh, let's try a few things more
yeah,
than,
I do. I like a really strong leader and
Mhm.
somebody that knows exactly what they want and how they want it. And, you know, s-
Yeah.
somebody like David Lynch, like on
Mhm.
Lost Highway, every word, every punctuation, everything had to be followed to the T.
Mhm.
But then when we did Twin Peaks, he and I would just like riff and riff and riff, and he would whisper funny things into my ear, and then I
Yeah.
would come back in front of camera and do stuff. So you want to have some freedom,
Mhm.
like within that, and to be
Yeah.
able to play, but to know that you're being led by the best,
Mhm.
and they're uncompromising, and you just trust them so much. For me, that's everything.
Yeah. Yeah, and it helps if the writing is amazing, I'm sure. Like where you're like,
Of
"Oh my
course.
god, this is the perfect way to say this thing, or these are the perfect words to be said in this moment."
Yeah.
Yeah, like I think of like the Cohen brothers. I think
Yeah,
they're
again, the guys I would
yeah,
love to work for, you
because
know what I
like they're
mean?
notorious for like do not venture off of this script. Like the Big
Mhm.
Lebowski seems 100% improvised. But apparently every dude, like, fuck,
Right.
like every little word is in that script, and it's, I mean, it's just incredible that
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Certain guys are like that, every punctuation and,
mhm,
with David, we didn't even really know what kind of movie we were making. Like you
yeah,
couldn't tell when you read the script, you couldn't really tell how scary it was gonna be. You couldn't.
mhm,
And David was like Patricia Arquette, who
mhm,
plays opposite me, who's also one of my best friends and
yeah,
godmother of my firstborn. She would cry at the end of some days because David had her speaking in this like very monotone kind of slow way
mhm.
that at the time she felt was like, this is going to be terrible. People are going to,
Oh,
and,
yeah,
and because David just had this very specific way he wanted her to talk. And now when you see it, you're like, Patricia is like a marvel in the
yes,
film. And has this kind of very plotting way of
mhm,
speaking. At the time, she thought, "Oh my God, this is terrible. I hate what I'm doing," and and
yeah,
and would literally cry.
that
And
yeah, that's so interesting because you don't really notice it when you're watching it. Like if you had never told me that, I would never think, "Oh, there's something interesting about how she's, like, speaking." It just fits so
yeah,
per which to David Lynch, just
yeah,
having something in his head where it's like, I know this is gonna work. Like I
yeah,
don't need to see it finished. I
right,
know ahead of time, which that's why I'm so in awe of like directors. It's like, God, how do you
yeah,
get that? How do you get that vision in your head into reality like that and do it
yeah.
so well? Like that's, I mean, that's what separates, people like him.
Yeah, yeah, it's just that it's that clarity and that belief.
Yeah, which and she's incredible and pretty in
Yeah,
everything she does. Like I'm a True Romance is another movie I've seen, God,
yeah, of
damn, a
course.
hundred times. And yeah,
Yeah,
just so good. Like there's some people that just as soon as I see that their name is attached to a movie, I'm like, I'm gonna watch it. Like, I don't
Yeah,
care. I'm gonna watch this movie. She's definitely one of those
definitely.
people. Yeah. Yeah. What about, so if you could go back in time, work with any actor, who would you pick to be like, holy shit, I would
Ooh,
love to have worked with like
yeah. I
Brando or
mean, probably. I was, that's what I was gonna say.
really? Yeah.
Uh, although you don't really see me in the film because most of it ended up, but I was in the Megalopolis. I just
Yeah.
worked with Francis, and there's a
Mm.
couple little beats you can see me in the film, but I got to spend quite a lot of time working with him. And something I watch like probably once a year is Hearts of Darkness. Um,
So good.
yeah, and
Yeah.
it's like, and even while I was making Megalopolis, I was in my trailer watching Hearts of Darkness because, and of course, Apocalypse equally good. But for me,
Yeah.
it's almost like the doc. I don't want to say better, but you get everything from the film that you
Mhm.
love, and in addition, you get this wild story.
It's the greatest behind the scenes story of any movie, I think. Is
Yeah,
the filming of Apocalypse Now. We're just like,
yeah.
my
Have
God,
you
how did this
seen?
even
Have you seen the one, My Best Fiend,
my
about
best thing?
the about oh God, hold on, the German director,
Werner Herzog?
Herzog, about the making
Oh,
of,
okay. So I haven't
you
seen
know
that, but I have dove
Kinski movie
into
where he's taking the boat. Fitzcarraldo, is that?
Fitzcarraldo. Yeah. So he did like
Yeah,
two movies with is it Klaus Kinski? I think is the
Klaus
actor.
Kinski.
So yeah,
So this is
he
about their relationship. It's called My
oh,
Best Fiend.
okay, I have got to watch it. Yeah, so I'm very familiar with their
Yeah,
story,
yeah,
and
they're dynamic.
my God, yeah. I mean, Werner Herzog tried to kill him. I mean, he tried to.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard that story that he tried to burn his house down with him
Uh-uh.
locked inside? So Werner Herzog one night, I guess, got kind of drunk and got so angry just thinking about this is like years after Fitzcarraldo
Yeah.
got drunk and just got so angry thinking about Klaus Kinski that he drove to his house with a can of gasoline and started pouring it onto his porch and was going to burn him to death in his house. But Klaus Kinski's dog came out and started barking, so he jumped the fence and ran away before he could light the match. It's
Yeah,
like, I
it's
mean, this
great.
is yeah.
There's two of them. There's My Best Fiend, which is just about their relationship, and then
Mhm.
there's one that's just the making of. You got to watch them both.
Oh, okay. Okay. And but it's the making of Fitzcarraldo, not
Yes.
Aguirre. Because there's that other one. There's like Aguirre, The Wrath of
Yeah.
Gods, I think,
Yeah.
which is another one that's
Yeah. Yeah.
insane. Yeah. Which I
Yeah.
think
I
they
think
did.
it's just
Yeah.
Fitzcarraldo, and then My Best Fiend is their relationship.
Okay.
They're both amazing.
Yeah. That's Werner Herzog is one of the most fascinating people
Yeah,
ever.
I know Werner.
Oh, really? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
have you heard so I guess you know the story, the car wreck, the actor that he saved from the car wreck?
I've heard about this, yeah.
Yeah,
I
that
didn't know it.
he came across a car that had been overturned, I guess came around a turn too sharp, flipped, and saw the gasoline dripping out everywhere, ran over to rescue the person in the car, saw that person trying to light a cigarette and was like, "Oh my God," grabbed the lighter and the cigarette, threw it, and then pulled him out and waited for the ambulance. Ambulance comes, saves the guy. The guy, gets up and is like, "I want to thank Werner Herzog for saving my life." And Werner, he just disappears. He's like,
Yeah.
I did my job. And it was Joaquin Phoenix.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's well, I mean, walks the godfather of one of my kids, walks one of my best friends. I've
Re-
never heard this
you
story.
know, oh, you've got to, yeah, you should ask. I mean, that's the
All
story at
right,
least. Like,
I'm gonna verify that one for you.
please do.
I'll
Cause
text you and let you know if that's a real one or if that's Hollywood lore.
please do. Yeah. Cause I mean, who knows? It could be. I mean, but
Right.
I've read it like tons of different places
Okay.
where it talks about it. Yeah. So, yeah, which to me, that's, That's the greatest actor alive is
Walk.
Joaquin Phoenix. Yeah. Yeah.
I
I
mean, it's
couldn't put anyone
tough
above
to
that.
argue. Tough to argue who's better. I mean, I think in that kind of that group of guys, I think you
Mhm,
have guys like Christian Bale, who I think is
mhm.
right up there. You have Walk. You have
Yeah. I think if he was still alive, Philip Seymour Hoffman would be close. I think
yeah,
he's
yeah, but a
just
little bit,
incredible.
he's a little bit more of a character guy. They're a little bit more leading men, so I feel like it's a little bit different.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, how do you argue against, you know? I'm a huge Christian Bale I love
Mhm.
Christian Bale.
Yeah, same.
I love Tom Hardy. He's kind of newer. I
Yeah,
love
Bronson's one of
yeah,
my favorite movies.
yeah. I got to I met Hardy with the very heavy English gangster dude he was hanging out with right right when he finished Bronson. Well, yeah,
Jesus.
right when he
Yeah.
finished Bronson, I got to hang out with him and yeah, and hear all the stories and
Yeah.
very cool.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a handful of those guys. I mean, to me, I mean, this isn't necessarily like leading man, but we kind of mentioned him earlier. Like Gary Oldman, I think would
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
close
Oh
up
yeah.
there with
Yeah, but I
Joaquin.
feel like he's a slightly different generation, you know?
True. Yeah, yeah, yeah. He would definitely be the generation
Yeah.
before. I mean,
Yeah, just kind of
yeah,
yeah, he's before us. Like me and Walk are the same age. I think me and all those guys are, around the same age. I think Gary's got to be a good 10, 15 years older than us.
yeah. Because I mean, the first movie I can think of is Sid and Nancy, and I think it was
Yeah,
'86. So,
yeah,
but he
exactly.
was
And he was
older,
already
and yeah,
yeah.
yes, yeah. I guess yeah, you're right. He'd be like probably like Tom Cruise's age. I mean,
Yeah,
not that they're like in the same
yeah,
group, but
yeah.
yeah, yeah. That's yeah. I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean,
Tom Cruise, man, early Cruise like
Jesus.
Taps and
All the right
Color of
moves.
Money. Color of
Yeah.
Money is one of my all-time faves, man.
That's is this Scorsese? Yeah, Scorsese.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
That's God, such a good movie too.
So
Yeah,
good.
those early, like all the way up to like Rain Man, and then a few,
Mhm.
a few good men, Jerry Maguire. Like when he was doing like all these like amazing dramas,
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
he really is incredible. I mean, I understand
Yeah,
people
I
doing Mission
love him.
Impossible
I
and stuff,
know
but
yeah,
yeah,
I love him. I know he's like a punchline a lot of the times, but I mean, think about what he's been doing for how long he's been doing it and how good he is.
yeah, he's the greatest movie star of all time. Like
Probably.
who? I mean, I as far as I can think, I can't think of a bigger
Yeah,
movie star
yeah,
than Tom Cruise.
yeah.
I mean,
I mean, Brad Pitt, George Clooney. I mean, I have a couple of these guys,
yeah,
but
but I
in
don't.
terms
I
of
see.
like,
Yeah, I don't.
yeah,
I
but
can't put them at the same level as Tom Cruise. Really, like as far as like a star, just like
yeah, yeah.
massive. Like everything he does is just yeah.
Yeah. I
That's
don't think I don't think there is another example. There's just TC and that's it, right?
maybe like Harrison Ford could have been. Back in the day
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
kind of close.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Star Wars and Indiana Jones alone puts you
Yeah.
up pretty
Yeah.
high, but
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, but what's great about Tom is like you said, like he's also done these great movies with PTA, with
Mhm. Yeah,
movies you just
Vanilla
weren't
Sky.
expecting.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Collateral. Collateral's
yeah, a
a
bunch of them.
amazing one. Like,
Collateral's great.
yeah, that is yeah. What Interview with the Vampire even, which is
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
it's one when you go back and watch, you're like, Jesus, what is going on in this thing? But but it is good. I mean,
Does it hold up?
no,
Not really.
not really. It's
No,
one
I
of
know,
those that
certain ones don't
yeah.
hold up.
Yeah, it's just the way it is. I mean, all the parts like, with Christian Slater, which I guess it was supposed to be River Phoenix, but of course, he passed away, before, but
Mm,
like those scenes are incredible. Where you're like, oh wow, like Brad Pitt opposite Christian Slater is it's a little
right.
throwback to
I
True
didn't even
Romance.
remember that Slater was in it.
Yeah, he's the journalist interviewing Brad Pitt in the present. And then Brad Pitt's telling
Right.
him the story. So that's why it's Interview with the Vampire, because he's
Got you.
interviewing
Got
him.
you.
And then yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah. So but yeah, it's Christian Slater. I mean, it's not like a he's not in it a ton, but
Yeah, yeah. I
yeah,
don't even know that I like, to be honest, I don't know that I've sat and watched it beginning to end, you know? It was like one of those
yeah.
things, kind
Give it a
of from
shot
over here.
sometime if you ain't got nothing to
Yeah.
do, because it is kind of it's funny when you watch it. You're like, my God, this is interesting.
Who
Like you can't
directed
tell if it's
that?
oh, I couldn't even tell. I think it is
Yeah.
somebody like
Oh,
very well known. I thought like a
it's not a
hmm,
female director, is it?
well, it's a female writer guy. I know because it was Anne
Right,
Rice, but
right.
Neil Jordan,
Huh, okay.
which that the name sounds kind of familiar, but I can't
Yeah, yeah, I
pinpoint
remember him.
anything. Yeah, yeah,
I
that's
remember.
but yeah. Go back and would you rather go back to like 60s Hollywood, like going in like 60s, 70s, or go back to the like very early age of
Hmm.
Hollywood? Because I think those stories are fascinating too. The like Chaplin,
Yeah,
that kind of
yeah,
era, D.W. Griffith.
yeah, yeah. Probably for me, that's a good question. I think like 60s, 70s probably fit me
Mhm.
better. And, I feel like the 20s, or I mean, that was just a completely different world. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, it was like going to a different planet. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Aren't you doing
Um,
something that like a Mary Pickford like
we
story again?
did.
Or I
We
mean, it's
did.
already done, but
Yeah,
it's not
yeah,
out yet,
yeah.
right?
It's not. We finished it a couple years ago, and then, yeah, I think COVID kinda happened and slowed
Yeah.
everything down, and, I've seen it. It's good. It's pretty wild. I mean, it's very, very artistic, very, very,
Yeah.
very out there. Yeah, I think she did a good job. I just don't. It's really hard right now. Like, Hollywood is it's a really tough time to get movies made. It's a tough time to sell movies.
Yeah.
Certain things like networks and streamers are buying, like, you know, any kind of murder, mystery kind of, unscripted stuff that's
Mhm.
working. And then, a lot of remakes and stuff like that. But,
Yeah.
to either sell or get, an indie made, it's tough unless you
Yeah.
just go do it out on your own.
Yeah.
Um,
Which that's gotta
yeah,
be
and I think,
so
she put a lot of work into it. I don't think she just, because you could get a streamer you could just get them to license it and or whatever and put it out. But if they're
yeah.
not going to promote it and there's nothing, she probably like rather wait.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, yeah, it's
Yeah,
understandable. I mean, it's gotta
yeah,
be just so goddamn frustrating, but, yeah, I mean, what
yeah,
can you do? Yeah, I do have
yeah.
a few random questions for you. I usually end
Sure.
with, not that these haven't all kind of been random
No, no,
questions,
no.
but,
Good.
what's your favorite fast food? Or do you
Favorite
eat
fast
fast
food?
food?
I don't.
Okay, well,
But I'm trying to think. I know this sounds crazy, but just a good old fashioned Mickey D's cheeseburger, like
dude, I'm with you, man.
fries and a Coke. I mean,
McDonald's
y-
Coke, I don't understand how it tastes
yeah,
like that. It tastes so much different
y-
and better than any
yeah,
other place, and believe me, I've tried all of them, but
yeah. So
yeah,
I might go with Mickey D's, and then there's smaller ones like In and Out and that kind of stuff. But I almost don't even see that as fast food.
that's fair. Yeah, yeah, I get you. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, probably Mickey D's.
okay. What was your first concert?
First concert, the first one. The first one I really remember was the
Mhm.
first time I did acid. We were 13, and it was a Grateful Dead show here in LA
Wow.
at the Coliseum. Yeah,
Well, you
and it
kinda
was
have to.
me and my best friend who sadly passed away last year. But yeah, I think we ended up taking like 10 or 15 hits of acid because we didn't understand that it took a while for it to come on.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we would take one, and then we waited like 5 minutes, and we were like, what the hell is this?" And then,
Yeah.
like, so we just kept taking them, and then about an
Mm.
hour and a half in, yeah.
That's
It all came quick. Yeah.
dude, that's yeah. I mean,
Yeah, I'd say the Dead
yeah,
that
that's a
was
hell
the
of a
third.
first concert. Holy,
Yeah,
I mean, my God, you were on another
yeah,
planet. Yeah.
yeah,
Oh my,
yeah.
yeah, that's a good one. If you could go back and see any band or artist in their prime, who would you want to see?
That's easy. I think
Okay.
probably Bob Marley.
Re- That's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, huge Bob Marley fan. I love him. I had him tattooed on my arm, but I ended up having to get it lasered off. It's still kind of the shadow of him is still there. The songs
Yeah.
are so good. He was so good. The performances um, were so good. So I think I got to
Yeah.
go with Bob.
It's a great choice. Yeah, I'm a big live album person. Like that's actually what I like
Yeah,
to listen to more than the studio albums. I like just putting on the headphones and listening to the live. And he's one of the ones that I go back to all the time because
yeah,
it's as
oh
great as
yeah,
the studio albums are, which they are. The live albums are so
yeah.
much better, I think.
So good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I do
yeah.
that with
So
him, the Grateful Dead, of course. Like, yeah, there's a few that God, just the live albums are so much better. And
yeah, totally
yeah,
agree.
yeah, that's a good one. I think for me, probably David Bowie. That's one that
Yeah,
I would
yeah.
have loved to
He'd be
see
right up
live.
there. He'd be
Yeah,
right up there. Definitely one of my favorites, man.
yeah,
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 that'd be a tough one. Yeah, that'd be a tough one, but I think Bob just
yeah,
just gets it done. But yeah, Bowie, oh,
yeah.
so
Do
good,
you
man.
do you have any guilty pleasure music? Like, I mean, we kind of went over the TV shows, which I would never would
Right,
have guessed
guilty
you're a
pleasure
Vanderpump Rules
I
fan, but
mean, is like Genesis, is that a guilty pleasure? Like,
I think it
Phil
depends.
Collins, like, like that kind of
That's
stuff?
that's a
I
good one.
guess
Yeah,
I guess I'm a little bit of a 90s R&B, but I don't even know if that's a
oh,
guilty pleasure, like
I think it kind of
Jodeci
is.
and like,
Jodeci's a guilty pleasure. Yeah, I'll tell you right now,
All right,
Jodeci is a
maybe
guilty
it's
pleasure.
maybe it's my love for 90s R&B is my
Yeah,
guilty pleasure,
I
musical
I'm
pleasure.
I'm a big fan of it as well. But I side note, I mean, for me, it's ABBA. ABBA's my guilt. I'm a
Yeah,
massive ABBA
yeah.
fan, which I don't think anyone would look at me and go, "Oh, that guy loves ABBA."
Yeah, I don't
But
know, man, like, everybody loves ABBA.
that's my
My
argument.
kids love ABBA, like yeah, I don't even know if that's a guilty pleasure anymore, man.
That's fair. Yeah, probably right. Yeah, I mean, and rightfully so because ABBA's goddamn amazing. But
Yeah.
yeah, and just like '80s one hit wonder kind of, new wave.
Yeah.
So I'm a big fan of like,
Yeah.
well, they're not one hit wonder, but they're like Tears for Fears, like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Big fan
Oh,
of that,
yeah.
which maybe is a
Yeah,
little
I
bit of a guilty
love
pleasure.
all
But
that
yeah,
emo '80s stuff.
hell yeah, dude. Well, this has been a real pleasure, man. I've had a great time talking with you.
Oh, awesome, man. Myself as well, man. It's
I
cool that we
really,
got to do it. And congrats on everything. I know you were just yeah, how was the quickly tell me how the Rogan
yeah.
thing was and how you
Oh,
ended up there.
Oh, dude, it was great. So, I mean, I've talked to Joe a couple times, just like here and there, and yeah, he just reached out and asked if because he knows I'm in Texas, which makes it a little bit
Right.
easier to get down there, and yeah, just asked if I'd come on. We scheduled it, and I mean, couldn't be a
Awesome.
nicer guy. So
Yeah.
nice, which I know people have their opinions about him.
Yeah.
He's become kind of a divisive fellow, which I get
Yeah.
it, but just as a person, that guy couldn't be nicer. I was nervous as hell, and that
Yeah.
went away so quick. Like just
Yeah, that's what I hear. Like you always hear like what a great guy he is.
yeah, it's the truth for sure, man. He is a one of a kind type guy. Like yeah, I'll back that guy up anytime. Not that he needs it, but just
Right.
just a yeah, all around good dude. Yeah, but so are you, man.
Awesome.
You're a
Thanks.
hell of an easy person to talk to. I'm happy
Yeah,
that
thanks.
you've had all this success, man. It's
Thanks,
rightfully
man.
deserved.
Appreciate it. Yeah, let's stay in touch. And if you ever make it out to LA, let me know, man. We'll go have lunch or dinner or something.